There we go. Okay, great. All right, so thank you, Darina, again for joining me for this interview for the project How We Remember. I'm very excited, and you're also one of the first people I'm going to be speaking to, so it's very exciting for me as well. And so I'm happy to have you here. Gonna jump right
Thank you.
in.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so the first question I have is just would you mind stating your name, age, and current occupation?
Well, my name is Darina Sanzhieva. I am 37 years old, and currently I am a cultural director of Buryat Mongol United Association. It's a nonprofit organization. And also I'm a manager of a Buryat Mongol folk band, Zerd. That's what I do. And I'm a full-time mom for my kids.
Amazing, it's a super busy life.
Yes.
So to kind of start things off, would you mind telling me your indigenous background and where you grew up?
Yes, I'm a Buryat Mongolian. I grew up in a very, very small town in Siberia. It's called Republic of Buryatia in Russia. The town is called Kurumkan. It's like, I guess it's going to be a little hard for you to memorize, but like if you need me to write down the, like specific names or like the names of the places, I can send you definitely.
Thank you so
I can
much.
type you. So yeah, I was born in Russia, in Moscow, and then I grew up in Republic of Buryatia. It's Buryan Mongolians are one of the tribes of Mongol people. So there are five, I believe, tribes of Mongolian people. There are Mongolians, half Mongolians. They live in Mongolia.
Mm.
Then we have Buryat Mongolians, Kalmyk Mongolians, and Tuvan Mongolians. These three tribes live in Russia and also Inner Mongolia. Inner Mongolians, they are from China. And there's another tribe called Hazara Mongols. So Hazara Mongolians, they located in Afghanistan and Pakistan, I think. So we're all Mongol people, like spread everywhere. So I'm a representative of Buryat Mongolian.
Thank you for sharing that. And I think it's so awesome how you explain the differences and like the geographical differences because I feel like a lot of people, especially Americans, are just like, oh yeah, Mongolian, and then that's it. Like that's the entire understanding.
Yeah,
So
people usually think like if you're Mongolian, then you should definitely be from Mongolia. But like we were one Mongol nation, but then because of we were occupied by Russia or Inner Mongolians were occupied by China, so that's why we got separated. And I believe Buryat Mongolians live on 400, I think. So sometimes when people ask like where are you from and you say from Russia, they wouldn't, like you don't look Russian, right? Not everyone understand that Russia has a lot of like ethnic minorities also, or like a lot of nationalities. But previously we used to be in Mongolia, and then our lands got occupied
right,
long,
right.
long, long time ago.
Yeah. So knowing that, how was your indigeneity part of your life as a child? How was the history of your community passed down to you? So I guess things you practiced, um, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I grew up in a very Buryat family. I grew up with my grandma. My grandma was like super Buryat lady, like all about tradition and folklore and the language. So yeah, that passed. She did her best to pass the culture and the language and the history and the heritage we have to me. Thank God I know the language. Nowadays, I know that's a big issue for youth in
Mhm.
Buryatia. They don't know the language because it's just being eliminated, because of the dominating language you have. Like the Russian language is the first language, and the Buryat language is not really taught in schools now. So it's more about families. So you can learn the language only in your family. Like the best you can do is like just to teach your kids in your family, because it's very hard to learn somewhere like in different places like schools or universities, colleges, whatever. It's not that popular, and I guess it's a part of propaganda that it should be erased or eliminated, because, like, like Russia is a big country. Yeah, everybody should speak Russian. I know the same issue is in China also, because when I speak to my inner Mongolian brothers and sisters, they have the same issue. Like, we understand each other, like, clearly they know what's going on and we understand, comparing to half Mongolians who live in Mongolia. They live in their country, with their language, and there is no different languages. So yeah, my grandma taught me the language, and I was growing like in very Buryat, like everything around me and surrounding me was
Hmm.
all about Buryat, like celebrating all traditional holidays. Um, if you do not know, Buryats are Buddhists. By
Hmm.
religion, we're Buddhist, and also we practice shamanism. So I grew up in the region where shamanism and Buddhism is very, like, it's very connected to each other. So we can go for like to shamans, we can go to the monks, like
Right.
in Buddhist. So yeah, we celebrated all the traditional holidays, religious holidays, spoke only the Buryat language, and like definitely the traditional food. We cooked together, and she taught me how to cook. I guess we should meet one day. I
Yes,
will cook
yes.
a very traditional Buryat cuisine we have. It's very rich, and make videos. These days our organization is trying to make the videos to pass it to the younger generation, so that they like, I mean, to the community members who are here in the United States, because looking at our kids, they grow in America, and then everything is American, and
Hmm.
it's all about fast food and everything. So
Oh,
we
yeah, yeah.
try to do some documentaries just to show them at least what the for example, like traditional food is called booze. Booze is like a steamed dumpling. We do the documentaries here, so I'm just skipping far. So yeah, that's my background, and that's where I grew up, in a very small town. And the majority of our what do we say, fellow country
Oh,
country
like countrymen, yeah, like.
countrymen, yeah, like we were all Buryats, mostly
Mhm.
Buryats there. So yeah, that's how I got the culture and the language.
Yeah. It sounds one like a beautiful culture. And then what you said about language, I feel like is also so important. I know so many indigenous communities are like so much of the culture is in the language. And when you start to lose that, you start to lose like being able to be in touch with the culture. Um,
Absolutely.
so I think that's amazing that also the work you're doing contributes to that. And so kind of along that line, is there a favorite memory that sticks out to you from when you were a child related to just growing up in general?
Spending the time with my family, especially when now I understand that that was very important. Being a kid, you don't really understand, like, why do I have to, like, cook these dishes? But like, for example, showing like why it is important to cook in this proper way, or there are some different like steps to cook this, or or even do the prayers in front of them. It's again unstable. Sorry.
Oh,
I
you're okay.
I hope. Okay. So those moments were super important to me. I mean, I understand it now. So those are in memory. And it stuck in my memory because I understand that it was important. And those days were crazy cool because my grandma literally had some time.
I think we froze. Did I get you back? Yes. Okay, there you are.
Yeah, but this is so crazy. Mm. Okay, so yeah, and being a principal of school, like being a teacher, speaking about my grandma, she was super busy woman, but then she managed to teach me all this different kind of, how to cook, how to pray,
Mhm.
how to re I remember she was making me read the literature in the Buryat language because it was very hard for me, like
Yeah.
books written in Buryat and you don't really understand every single word because you at school you speak only Russian, but then you come home and then you speak Buryat, and she was like making me read those books. Now I understand that that was super important. And the sad thing that you realize is you realize it when you grew up already,
Right,
like
right.
being a child you don't really put some, like that much attention to that, but then now when being a mom and trying to teach my kids the language, I understand that that's very hard. It was very hard. It's hard for me. They don't want to learn. They're not interested in it. And just I noticed that even if sitting at dinner and we're speaking only English. I'm like, why are we speaking English? We could speak the Buryat language. What is
Right,
wrong? I
right.
know the Buryat language. I'm trying to teach them. Why we don't do that? It's just because they don't want it. It's
Mm.
just they don't use it. And the younger one, especially, he said, like, I'm not using it anywhere. Like I'm with my friends or with the relatives who live here, they speak only English, and I mean, that's a big problem. But my
Right, right.
grandma, I mean, she put her effort to teach me. So even sometimes in Soviet Union, it's a big impact of Soviet Union. My grandma was forced not to speak the Buryat language, not to speak the native
Mm.
language they spoke. They were supposed to speak only Russian, but they preserved it, and she managed to pass the language to me or to her kids. Mm, I think she played like a big role in my life,
Yeah.
like preserving the um the unique I in the indigen I what is
Yeah, like
how do
your
you
indigenous, like, and yeah, your indigeneity or
yeah
your identity.
yes
Yeah.
yeah
No, she
that's
sounds
what I wanted
like
to
an amazing one. What was her name?
her name was Galina. It's not it's not Buryat name, it's Russian name Galina. But that's again, it's an
Mhm.
impact of Soviet Union. They were
Yeah.
supposed to give kids only Russian names, speak only
Mhm.
Russian, forget about the culture, forget about the food and everything.
Right.
So I understand they went through the very hard times, but now it's not Soviet Union. I know, I understand. We being a kid, being a school kid, I didn't really felt. I mean, I didn't really feel that I'm not free or something. Nobody like told us, like specifically you speak only Russian. It's always
Right.
in the air. Like Buryat language is not popular. Everybody speaks Russian,
Mhm.
and if you speak Russian accent, you're like, like you're from countryside or whatever, they would
Mhm.
like bully you. So being a kid, you don't really understand those things. And now I came
Now
up
you
to my,
know. Yeah.
like, oh wow, yeah, that was a big issue,
Mm.
apparently.
Yeah.
So yeah, the memories about my family and the way my grandma strictly taught me the culture, I
Right.
guess that's the biggest
The
appreciation.
biggest thing that sticks out.
Yeah.
And so then you were talking about obviously now as an adult looking back, you know things you didn't as a kid. Did your relationship with being Boyan Mongolian change as you became a teenager or entered high school? Did it change at all or did it stay the same?
Yeah, as I mentioned, when I went to school, when I became a teenager, I also thought that the Buryat language was not popular and nobody really speaks, especially with my classmates. Everybody was speaking Russian, like movies in Russian, songs and everything. Like wherever you go, like wherever you go, it's all in Russian language, and you think like you're a part of Russians, maybe I'm Russian, like you think that way, and then you think that Buryat is not popular and it doesn't. nobody understands you. I had that feelings. I mean, there was something in my mind, like teenager, and then nobody speaks. Why would
Mm-hmm.
I? Who am I gonna speak this language? And if, especially if somebody's laughing at you, if you're speaking with some
Mm-hmm.
accent or something. Yeah, there was some times I didn't want to learn the language. I was literally like refused, like do some research about like famous Buryat politicians. Or my grandma
Right.
was all about that
Mm-hmm.
because she knew history very well. And the library in our house, I remember like she had like special room for the library, and it
Oh
was
my
all
gosh.
Buryat writers. Yeah, I mean, she's a teacher, of course. I understand. Like she had
Mm-hmm.
it, she was supposed to have it. But then I thought that who needs this? Like,
Mm.
why? I'm just going there to dust the books and that's it. I don't want to read that. Like something like that. I had those feelings. But when I think, yeah, when I entered the university, we had some of my some of the students, they were speaking Buryat, and there's a bunch of different dialects and we couldn't understand each other, especially we came from different regions
Mm-hmm.
and we're all students. And I don't understand some different dialect of Buryat, they don't understand me, and like you just like smoothly go to the Russian language and you speak only Russian. But then somebody told me like this is so unique that there's different dialects and you can teach each other. Why wouldn't you speak Buryat? Like what's wrong with that?
Right, right,
Nothing to be embarrassed about it. Like I don't remember if it was a professor or someone, like some adult, not a student.
right.
And that time I started dating my boyfriend. I mean, now he's my husband.
Mm-hmm.
He is from like he's musician. His family is also about like all about tradition and folk music and everything. And he used to speak to me only the Buryat language. Because like there's nothing to be embarrassed about it. Like, why
Mm-hmm.
don't we speak Buryat? That time I realized like, yes, I have my own outfit. Like Buryat outfit. We have the richest culture comparing to, like I don't want to say anything bad about like different tribes, but the Buryat culture is very rich in terms of songs. There is a lot of
Right.
songs. There's throat singing, different
Mm-hmm.
instruments, epic telling. Like if you want to, discover it, it's like a lot to read and do the research. So that time I realized like wow. And then when you travel abroad, you understand that you're not Russian. You are the Buryat Mongolian.
Mm-hmm.
Your face says you're Asian. You should have your own native language. You should have your culture, definitely. You cannot say I'm just from Russia and that's it, like who you are from Russia, like exactly.
Right,
So
right.
that gave me some, like the kick to realize that look, you are indigenous,
Right.
you're a native Buryat from Siberia with own culture, with own heritage, and you had your ancestors, and this is something unique. You should be, like
Should be like proud of.
so. Yeah, that the time I became a student, almost I think that was like what last maybe 2 years of before the graduation. That really like that came up to me, like understanding
Yeah, that
that you're
clicked
not
for
Russian.
you. Right, right.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of and thank you for sharing that with me, but it's kind of like a beautiful journey of like I guess also realizing who you are as you come into adulthood of like, oh, this is actually who I am. Um, so I think that is amazing. So I think for my next question, we've already spoken how you are as an adult now. So I guess my next question is, what Indigenous practices do you continue today, and how is your heritage part of your life? Um, which I think I know a little bit about, but yeah.
So yeah, everything comes from the family, as I said in the beginning. So yeah, we try to speak only. Yeah, and
You're
you're
back.
muted.
There we go. You're back now.
All right. So yeah, oh, the most important thing that we speak only the Buryat language with my husband, so the kids can hear us and then to catch the sound and intonation and everything, so they can understand the language. At least, like, oh, this is the Buryat language they're speaking, like
Hmm.
from the sounds and some words. We definitely cook our traditional food. Well, it's not if we are celebrating something traditional holiday or any religious event, so we try to cook only traditional food. um we have traditional outfit. Well, we do a lot of stuff for the community. Of course, we have a lot of outfits, and we dress up always in traditional clothes, and kids have it. So, and also, I think what we do now is mostly for the community and for community kids. So it's been like, what, 10 years? Me and my husband are doing the events
Hmm.
uh, for Briat people here in America. And yeah, we try to teach people that you have your language, you have your culture, you have your outfit. Come to the events in your Buryat outfit. Anything we organize, if we have hosts, we try to speak only Buryat language. Like I'm always looking for a host who speak only,
Hmm.
we we came up to the point that we speak the language, the native one. So yeah,
Um,
and the social gatherings are also important for us because the community kids can I mean, they get to know each other. They see what's going on. Like if we go like Buddhist temple, we gather there all
mhm.
together, and then they know like, oh, these are all Buryats, okay, or oh, okay, they're cooking this or something
Right.
like that. So yeah, that's what we do.
And what is is there a lot of cultural significance to having and wearing the outfit? Um, is it like super important or part of the culture to have that kind of outfit when you're going to an event?
It is important because our ancestors used to wear them for
Hmm.
special events, but there's a lot of different outfits. Like you can have like usual outfit, you can wear it at home, like you go outside, or like a fancy dress for events, or if you go to temple, so you wear something like very traditional, covered. Everything should be covered. Like you cannot show your like naked parts of like I don't know,
Hmm.
like legs. That's also a part of culture, and it's very important. And but you can't really wear the outfit like go into the grocery shopping.
Right.
Dress for like do some stuff around the house. I don't know, I don't really wear at home. If I'm hosting, if I'm having like guests, I would wear it
Hmm.
just to show like that, look, this is this is, it's called degal. So degal is like an outfit for men and women. So just a show, especially if it's especially for the Lunar New Year, we try not to wear it every time because you host a lot, a lot. You go for, you go see the guests, you see the relatives come to your house, so you always wear your outfit. That's important. So yeah, and also you need to be covered and everything. So it's hard to buy those outfits here in America. We try to order it from Buryatia or
Hmm.
Mongolia. but the community is growing. I know some masters are coming here to New York from Chicago. I don't know, from Chicago or from Florida. Someone is coming here. She knows how to make those
Oh, it's amazing.
decals, and yeah, that's very exciting. Like you don't have to spend like thousands of dollars to order it
Yeah,
from
get it
somewhere,
to ship from somewhere. Yeah,
yeah, we can buy like fabric and then just they will have your measurements and
and
yeah.
go from there.
So yeah, every year we try to get something new for, especially for me. I love my dresses. Like I have a bunch of them, but like especially when you have events and the same people come to the event and you're not going to be wearing the same dress. Of course, you want to change them. You want
Right, right,
to make it fancy. So yeah, that's what that's what we do with
right,
the
right.
girls.
That sounds amazing. And then I guess another like kind of fun question I had, it was, do you have a favorite food or recipe, like a cultural food or recipe?
Well, I think all-time favorites of me and of my family is a traditional Buryat steamed dumpling called
Mhm.
booze. Uh, my boss, he's from Center for Traditional Music and Dance. He knows Mongolian culture very well. He lived in Mongolia. In Mongolian language is booz. Boots in Buryat is booze. And he's like, you make me confused because booze in American is something different.
Right, right.
Like that's how it's called. So it's Buuz. It's
Okay.
not O, it's Uuz.
UV.
B-O
Okay.
booze. So yeah, that's steamed dumpling, and I have a video I think on YouTube. We were doing the documentaries how
Mm.
to make the booze, and like with the ground beef and the dough and everything, and how to steam it and like exact time of cooking. So that's our favorite dish. Our family, we try to make booze once a week. My kids love it. I mean, my kids they're vegetarians, but they don't eat the meat inside. They eat just the dough.
Just the dough of
So,
it.
but still. Yeah, if somebody asks like, "What's your favorite food?" they say booze. Okay,
Yep.
but you don't eat the meat. You don't eat the whole booze. You're just eating the dough. But anyways, yeah. So that's my favorite food.
It sounds good. I'll have to watch the video.
Yeah, I can send you the link.
Yeah, so it'd be fun. And so then what do you wish that non Mongolian or non-Mongolian Buryat people understood about your community?
Um, I think the first thing that we are ethnic minorities. There's not a lot of us, right? And it's way harder to preserve the language, the culture, traditions, heritage. It's always harder when you don't have nobody's like when you have something dominating, it's always hard to preserve it. You're struggling, and then step by step, whatever we do, step by step, should be, like maybe just understand that it's not easy, and we're doing our best to do that because sometimes at the events I can just sometimes you just hear some feedback about like what you're doing,
Mm,
and it's not always positive, right? Like somebody can be like, hey, this is not okay and this is funny or something. We still struggle, we still try to preserve it, and there's not much of us. I mean, there's not many of us to, and nobody, and not everyone wants to preserve it.
mm,
To be honest, some of the Buryat people, they think that they're Russians. They don't want to learn the
mm,
language. Like, why would I cook this and why would I go to temple or
mm,
interested anymore? It's also impact of dominating culture, impact of, I don't know, propaganda thing also, I
mhm.
guess. So we try to ruin that, to open their eyes, just
Right.
explain them, maybe be patient, and just to understand that we're ethnic minorities, and there's a bunch of stuff to do, and
Mm,
we're trying to do our best. Maybe
mm.
that.
Oh, So now I was going to transition into some questions I had about the Buryat Mongol United Association and then ZERD. So the first question I had is, and I know you've already said that you are the cultural director of the association. So how did the association start and how did you get into it and become the director?
Well, it all started by volunteering 10 years ago. Me and my husband started organizing events for our community. There was like 50 people, I think, in New York, um, getting know each other. Just that was like more of a social gathering, just to know each other and just to celebrate the Lunar New Year. Yes, we had some. My husband is a musician; he's a folk singer, and we had some performance there. I remember I had like some outfit from Buryatia. It was the
Mm.
time we just came to America, so that was the first time we always are we gonna organize this year again, or you just don't want that? I'm like, yeah, why not? Like, community is growing and we want to meet and we live everywhere, like in different states. Why don't we just, yeah, once a year, just like let's gather once a year and meet each other and speak about culture,
Mm.
maybe, make some booze, like
Right.
it started growing, and then we had more musicians, and then we had um, more people coming to US, and then, like in 5 years, I think it was already like 300 people for the event. And then we realized, okay, we have a summer festival also, which is like one of the biggest for Buryat people. So we started organizing summer events also. And then people were coming. And then once somebody gave me an idea, like, why don't you say that the entry to the event should be only in Buryat outfit? And
Mm.
like you can promote the Buryat outfit there, and then you do some contest, like, the best outfit, like
Right.
give them awards and everything. So yeah, we started that, and like we grew that big. And like a few years ago, we decided to register the organization, because like you're growing, you cannot be just doing it like,
Off.
especially
Right.
for the Lunar New Year. Uh, you sell the tickets for the Lunar New Year because
Mm.
we gather in the restaurant. You need to pay for the restaurant. You need to pay for
Right.
the musicians. It's a concert, and we have a lot of elders in the community. We want to appreciate them. Like
Mm.
to give them gifts. It's the tradition. Like
Hmm.
every Lunar New Year, you go and do the some offerings to elders and
Hmm.
show your appreciation. And then um, the elders, well, basically, elders are the living tradition, right? Like
Mm.
they can pass everything they have to the younger generation. So I love the elders of our community.
Yeah.
Like they're very active. I don't know, like that's maybe it's something about from. We're different. There's some gap, of course, between the generations, but
Mm.
they're different. They're like, they know what they do. They're very active. They come on time, and like I love
Mm.
them. And they all know the Buryat language, like everybody speaks the Buryat language, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that. So
Mm.
yeah, we registered the organization, we teamed up and started our journey.
I think it's just so amazing that you started really from such a small like seed and now you're this massive,
Yeah, like 50
organization.
people. And yeah, it's just me and my husband organizing, trying to organize something. We had the background of organizing events.
Mm.
Like my husband is a musician, and I was very active student in my university. I was
Mm.
everywhere, like trying to organize here and there, like festivals.
Right.
And so I had some background experience, of course. But then, like, it's only you two, and there's 50 people, their audience, like,
Right, right.
so then we build up the team. And now I can say, like, the team that I'm working with, and it's like they're very good. They're very good
Mm.
guys. They put like everything into this, and it's not about money or something.
Mm.
They're literally, like they put their heart and souls into the traditional events and any gatherings we do.
Oops. And we're back. Um,
Okay.
so now I got you. So knowing this, what are some goals the association currently has right now? And I know we were discussing earlier about the several big festivals you've had. So if you could also describe those and plans for the future, that'd be great.
Yeah. So yeah, the main mission of the organization is to preserve our language, culture, and rich history and heritage. That's the most important thing we're trying to carry. Um, so what we do is we always organize Lunar New Year once a year, and then the summer festival, and also we also organize like religious events like before the Lunar New Year. There's big prayer services in the temple, so we do that also. And it's not only about holidays or celebrations. Any different, like situations can happen in the community, like not only good news but bad news. So we try to festivals we organize is Ayalga Cultural Festival, but that's in partnership with Center for Traditional Music and
Mm.
Dance. We do that. The main goal of the festival is to learn the language through the music. So um, I remember somebody, I think, yeah, it was Andrew Colwell from CTMD, and he was like, "Hey, we can organize some festival about the language. What's your vision? Like, what would you do?" And I'm like, "Wow, I don't know. Like, kids, it should be involved. I would love to involve the kids, like to like to pass everything we have to the kids, like what we start with. I guess the main issue is the language. So how do we teach them the language? Like the easiest way. And then I came up to the idea, like, why don't we do the song festival and then you learn the language through the art of music and song. Like that's also an idea. So and it went very well the first this is the third year we're organizing. And then yeah, and then the kids got involved, and the second year we had more kids. This year we had like 80 kids. It was like 15 kids before, and then like this year it's 80 kids participants, and I'm like, wow, okay. So we're doing something and it works, and it works. It's not only like boring language, you just put some courses of the language. We
Right,
have the teacher of the Buryat language, she does it online. But it's not something like boring, like yeah, you have to learn. It's not something like that. It's like through fun for kids. They want to sing, they want to
right,
participate, they want some gifts, they want the stage and
right,
platforms.
right,
So but then you have to learn the language. So you should know what you're singing about. Like
right,
you should
right.
know the words, and then you should know how to pronounce it. So yeah, it went very well, and that's what we do, and that's our community is about.
Yeah. And I think that's such a awesome, smart way of educating youth through music. I think it's so much more engaging, and just a really unique way to get them into the culture. So that just sounds
Yeah,
so neat.
especially yeah, and that it's not like something fell from from the sky. It's because I work with the musicians and I work with dancers and singers, and I know the culture. And then I thought, oh, we have teachers we have dance teacher, we have vocal class, a big interest. Kids
Um,
were kids were
yeah,
excited and interested in that.
which I think is always good if you can get like the kids interested. I feel like other people will follow. Like as long as you get them and then you pass it down, then you're good.
Yeah, and also
Hmm.
parents, because when kids are involved, parents will definitely be involved, right? They would also join the Zoom classes, or they would
Right,
listen
right.
something, and then you have to make the Buryat outfit to be
Hmm.
at the concert. You're a performer already, like they're also like involved in everything, in all the process. So that's also a way to promote the culture
Yeah.
and the
And
language.
yeah, And I think it's also just really beautiful that the elders are such an essential part of the community and so necessary. And at the same time, you have kids kind of bringing in that new energy, like relearning. It just sounds like a really awesome dynamic going on.
Right.
And so then I wanted to talk a little bit. I know you mentioned managing the folk band Zerd. So I was just wondering if we could talk a little bit about that. I listened to a video called Flurry Fest, and the music was really beautiful, but I was wondering if you could describe some of the instruments and their significance, because some of them I didn't know.
Yeah, so Zerd is a New York-based Buryat Mongolian folk traditional band, specializes in traditional music and song and dance. This year we included dance. Those years we had some dancers, but like people come and go, like you
Mm.
can't really keep them all together all the time. But this year we have two professional dancers there in our band now. And yeah, our music is all about nomadism, and we perform like throughout America in different cultural festivals or any concert. We are invited, so we go there. And the main thing of this band is not only to preserve our culture and tradition, but also we would love to share our thousands of years rich heritage to people who don't know about us, about the culture, about music. So that's also a mission of the band. Probably you've seen the Flurry Festival. Yeah, I think we had Morinkhor guitar, and we were doing, I don't remember what we were doing there. We had so many festivals. So yeah, I think there was traditional horse head fiddle.
Mhm.
It's called Morinkhor in Buryat. So horse head fiddle is it's a traditional Mongolian instrument. It's considered to be a symbol of Mongol nation, and also it is listed in UNESCO. And two string instrument played with a what is this called?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Bow.
the bow. Yeah, I know you're right.
Yeah, the bow. I'm always like, what is the name of it? Yes. So yeah, and it's also a part of. It's also endangered. I think it's endangered instrument, if we can say that. Instrument endangered languages, but like instruments
Right.
that are
But like in
hearing.
right.
Do we say it endangered? So yeah, but and it's very few people who can play that instrument, and it's not that popular again. Like everything that is being eliminated is not popular. I don't know, but then we have the teacher of the modern core. We have the professional musician. He plays the modern core. He tries to teach the kids also. We bought our modern core for our kids. I hope they're gonna learn to play. It's very hard,
Play.
like two
Yeah.
strings, to play with that.
Mm.
And they play only folk music, and we're planning a lot of festivals this fall, I think. Yeah, we have some music and dance festival in Lotus Center in New York. And then there's another festival, Marco Polo, I think. So yeah, we try to participate everywhere to share our
Yeah, yeah.
culture.
I would love to see it
So
live.
yeah.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, I don't know about the Flurry Festival this year. That
Mm,
last year, I don't know, because of COVID, everything was, like
yeah.
lockdown, and then we were doing everything online. But
Hmm.
this year, I really hope back to normal, and we will be traveling around. So that's what
Yes,
we do.
yeah. So that was so far all the questions I had. So now I kind of open it up to you. Is there anything else you'd like to share about yourself, your work, your family?
Well, I would love to invite you to our festivals, to our events. All the info I put in my social media and Facebook. If you're in Facebook, probably you can check out, like, I have recent videos from the summer festival where I was talking about 800 people. So you can check them out. And if you have any questions about the spellings of the words that, yeah, I've been mentioning, I can always text you. And yeah, we're a very friendly community. Join us. Come to New Jersey. I live in New Jersey. I'll make some booths.
Yes, yeah.
I would
And I'm
love
not
to meet
far.
you
I'm
in
only in
person.
Massachusetts, so that's not that far away. So we could totally meet up in
Absolutely, of
person.
course. I work from home, so yeah, I'm always home. So welcome.
I'd love to.
Would
Thank you
love to
so
meet you
much.
in person.
Yes, yes. Um, well, thank you for participating in the interview. I'm gonna stop recording now, so I'll let it stop.